Tessa from MamasGeeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time today. As Tom knows, I'm a massive fan of SpongeBob. I grew up watching SpongeBob, and now my girls who are 9 and 10 are like so into it. They're always, can we eat dinner in front of SpongeBob? I'm like, sure, why not? But I'd love to know for you guys what it was like reprising these roles, but as younger characters this time around. And Tom, you can go first.
Sure. Well, I mean, the main change is that they are a little younger, but that doesn't really, affect who they are that much. I mean, who they became is kind of they're kind of like us, arrested adolescents, stuck at 10 years old eternally. Luckily that's gone okay for me, but there's new characters that they interact with. Narlene and Nobby, Narwhal, a brother and sister a team that lives off in the woods, and it's really the world that's more new than the characters, and the characters are just the characters. So really that our approach is the same. There may be a little more naive, maybe I pitch his voice up a little bit higher than it was, but other than that, it's just SpongeBob and Sandy and Plankton and Mr. Krabs. They don't change at all. They're not really that younger versions of themselves. But and then of course best friend Patrick, Bill Fagerbakke.
The universe is expanding. Hi, my name is Bill Fagerbakke, and I grew up doing SpongeBob. This has been obviously a remarkable development at this point in the life of this amazing cartoon, and we're just having a great time. And the fact that so much of it happened in the era of COVID just made it all the more extraordinary because of all that accompanying weirdness. And fortunately, we had a long and robust feel for the material that we could help us get it through all the isolated recordings.
Yeah, I was going to say, what challenges did you guys have to deal with during COVID? Clearly
for me, it's definitely not, not being in the same room with my fellow actors, because everyone's read informs what I do. And I really, I miss that. So we do get chances to revisit that in a limited fashion currently. And I value each and every one of those.
Yeah, for me, the biggest challenge has been that as a time traveler from the 19th century, some of the newfangled, home recording was not anything that I ever wanted to have a learning curve. I had no aptitude nor interest. So yeah, that was sort of like a thrust upon us. But that being said, we were very, very lucky, unbelievably pinching ourselves fortunate that we were able to keep continuing what we did, once the pandemic lockdown happened, almost without a hitch. They kind of transitioned from home recording, from studio recording to home recording from home for everybody pretty dang quickly. And animation, of course, is, we were lucky that we stumbled into the one area of show business where pretty much everybody all the way down the line can do it from home, right? Storyboard guys, artists, background artists, music guys, sound effects people, actors. That's not the case on a sitcom or something. So a lot of places that really didn't care that much about animation suddenly became very, very interested in animation around March 2020. And that's still happening. So and we're still doing the bulk of our recording and directing from home. And, it's gotten easier since then, but there are still technical snafus all the time that put you behind, and then you got to crack the whip, and if you know me, there's nothing I like better than cracking a whip and being the boss. So, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Kenny, sir.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's so not my personality. So it's an ongoing, interesting learning curve, but it's kind of nice to be people of a certain age that are still having new job challenges and rising to them and meeting them. I mean, most people they're either, they're like, I'm done. I'm working at Dunder Mifflin until I'm finished, drawing the X's on the prison cell wall, and luckily for us, that is not the case. It's been interesting. And I learned some new stuff, which I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of what life's all about.
Yeah. What did you guys think when you first saw your characters in this like CG animated, different looking episodes because they look different, but the same, but different, but the same.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all had some anxiety of what exactly that would bring to this cartoon we treasure so much. But what I've realized quickly is that it's just an extension of the incredible imagination of our visual artists, of our storyboard artists. The things that they're able to do make me laugh constantly with character reactions within a different format.
Yeah, and Tessa, what was fun is that SpongeBob is such a determinedly 2D animated, classic animated show, and the people that work on it and the people that run it, Mark Ceccarelli, Vince Waller, and all the storyboard guys, as well, are all steeped in 2D classic squash and stretch, drawn animation. And so suddenly those guys are running a CG show, kind of like what I was just talking about with us. Like they had to learn this new stuff and go, wait, so how do we apply our 2D squash and stretch, Looney Tunes aesthetic to, pixels and, rods and cones and, all that computer stuff, and I think it's kind of cool because they brought that sensibility to CG. They're trying to figure out how to make CG as squashy, stretchy, as hand-drawn, and they're doing it. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Kamp Koral that I haven't seen in other CG projects, features included, of just like ultra crazy cartoony. They're going, how do we ape what we do in 2D with computer animation? And it's kind of like everything with SpongeBob. It's kind of bass backwards, It's kind of like everybody's trying to do everything kind of the wrong way, wrong, a different way than anybody else would ever do it. And I think that's what SpongeBob has always been about. Really, it's always been kind of this weird, half new, half looking backward, half looking forward kind of show, and everything about it, the music, everything. So it's really it's I'm just proud of those guys for mastering this giant learning curve, and part of that was bringing in people that knew how that stuff worked and that understood the aesthetic that Mark and Vince wanted. And that's another really gratifying thing about the process that we're talking about, is that when you don't know how to do stuff, you sort of have to ask people who are really good at stuff. And it's kind of nice to talk to people who are really good at something you don't know how to do.
Yeah. Real quick, last question, because I got to wrap here. But did you guys ever go to camp? Because this is all about camp. So did you ever go to camp, and did you ever have a fun, short camp story?
Bill?
No, that wasn't in my my personal culture.
You
No.
never went to camp?
No, lots of summer trips in the car.
You sort of grew up in a camp, Phil.
With my dad pulling over and reading every historical marker along the way. No, I never had a camp experience myself.
Yeah, we would do like camp programs in Syracuse where you go down to the Parks and Rec and you get on a bus and you go somewhere for the day, then they bring you back and you go to you'd go to the Lake Green Lakes, or they had different activities. You'd row like a crew shell. Like a regatta kind of shell on Onondaga Lake, the most polluted lake in America. Thank you. They're like, kids, don't put your hands in the water. The flesh will melt off your freaking bones.
I don't know, Tom. You may have acquired a superpower.
It's true.
Your contact with that lake.
You realize you never see my head from the back. There's an extra eye back there. from falling into Onondaga Lake when I was going to camp.
That's why I stay away from it. So
yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much. This went so fast.
Tessa, great to see you again.
I appreciate the time. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Love your stuff.
Thanks.
Great collection.
Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.